What's going on, Titan Nation? Thank you for tuning into the Two Tone Zone. I am your host, Mr. Two Tone, and as you can see, I have Ian in the building with us this evening, and I also have Mark in the building as well. So we're going to provide a great show for you guys, provide some great insight and some feedback from yesterday's game. So before we get started, too, I'm going to say what up to D Weez. D Weez, hope you're having a good evening, bro. Handle business and do what you do, my guy. We'll talk to you soon. But hey, man, guys, we got the dub yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we did. It was huge.
We pulled it out.
It wasn't very pretty in the beginning in the first half, but we ended up dominating the second half, and as you can see, the outcome was in our favor. So let me go ahead and I'll just go ahead and start with Mark, man. How content are you with yesterday's win?
Fairly. Defensively, we still had some issues. We had a couple blown coverages and things like that, a couple missed tackles that led to some really big plays for the Seattle. But the one thing I'll say is the second half, man, other than the one 68-yard touchdown, man, we shut them down. And that was good to see. And in fact, their last 4 drives were 3 and out. So that was a huge positive. And then offensively, there's not really a whole lot to say. Henry really carried us in that entire second half. Julio did his thing. I mean, we were just rolling for most of the half. So, I feel really good about where things stand right now.
Right. I mean, and as well as we should, have rode Derrick Henry's coattail, man. Past few seasons he's been lights out for us. He's been consistent, and he's been that rock for us. 35 carries yesterday, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he was active in the pass game. So, hey, salute to Derrick Henry. Absolutely. Ian, how do you feel, man?
Kind of like with Mark, feeling pretty good about it. I'm just hoping that the second half team can carry this on to Sunday's game against the Colts, because the second half team is the team I think that we all were anticipating for. Kind of hoping that this is what the team that we can see coming out for this season. So if they could carry that momentum going into the next game that they did in the second half, I think we might have a good team on our hands.
Absolutely, man. I'm not content. I'm more looking at it from Vrabel's standpoint. Just listening to him in the pressers, man. There's a lot of things that still need to be cleaned up, because at the end of the day, we can't rely on teams to give us 100 yards and penalties, right?
Yep.
We can't rely on things like that. We can't rely on just things that fall in our direction.
Right.
The things that we can't control, we have to control.
Yep.
There's no excuse or ifs, ands, or buts about it. So hopefully we can get away from that identity of us, playing from behind and being the underdog situation. Like when we're expected to win, those are the games that we need to go out there and win it. You know what I'm saying? Like, period. Like, because we've always had this kind of this energy around us where we win the games we're supposed to lose and we lose the games we're supposed to win. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But hey, salute to the fellas. I know it wasn't easy yesterday out there in Lumen Field, man. It was loud.
I know they were saying, I seen a couple of posts like, on social media where people who were at the game were saying like it was loud, but like that last 4 minutes of the game, it was like total silence. And when we kicked that field goal, they said like people were just leaving it. It was like, man, it was just so quiet.
Even in overtime, man, you just didn't get the feeling like it was just quiet for what we're used to hearing out of them. You know, it's just like we had taken all the momentum, not only from the team, but from the fans.
Right. And like, this is like the loudest stadium, I think, in like sports, like in all the sports.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty
not
close.
Just in football, but just in sports in general. So just for us to do that, man, it was, that was dope.
Luckily we didn't see no rain out there yesterday. It seemed a little windy, a little chilly, but nothing crazy.
Yeah,
nothing crazy at all. And I know I was almost about to have a heart attack, being that Bullock missed a 44-yard earlier in the game, and then it boiled down to a field goal, which I know Titans fans did not want to see that. I know.
I was nervous, man.
Right. I mentioned that on the week 2 preview. I hope it doesn't boil down to a field goal. But the fact that he made it, it speaks. I wouldn't say it speaks volumes. I would just say it gives us an opportunity to kind of be at ease, going into week 3, because Sam Fick is still on IR for probably for another 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's done with that groin injury. So, hey, but salute to Randy Bullock, man. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Being that we're a solid team, like I know when we get into the red zone, we can get it into the end zone, and he had to kick the ball 5 times. Imagine if we didn't have to do that. We would never would have went to overtime. We never went
Right.
to overtime. But as you both said it before, we're glad these things are happening now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
For
Yeah,
sure.
let them happen now. So hopefully, as the season progresses, we could get better. We could just fine tune some things and keep the ball go rolling.
Absolutely. I'll start with you on this one, Ian. I know we've seen a lot of different players have an impact on the game, man. But if you had to pinpoint our most biggest asset and the person we were most reliable on outside of Derrick Henry on offense, who would you say it was?
Outside of Derrick Henry, I would have to say Christian Fulton. He definitely
On
got it
offense. On
on
offense.
offense. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
on offense.
offense. On offense, I would probably say Toss Umbrello actually. For him to come in at the last minute to step in for Taylor, and I think he only had like one pressure between him. I think between him and Ben Jones, I think it was like only one pressure on that side of the line. Definitely for him to hold up, even though Tannehill got sacked 3 times, they wasn't on Sambrello. There were on other linemen, on the offensive line.
Yeah,
but for him, yeah. But for him to come in last minute like that and to really, kind of perform a max protection on Tannehill so Tannehill could get the ball out.
Right.
And also the block for Henry to get those yards, to me, was tremendous.
Yeah, that O-line coming together, man, under extreme circumstances.
Yep.
Hey, salute to that man, Aaron Brewer, too.
Yeah, definitely. Aaron Brewer. Yep.
Yeah, he came in and handled business. And it was pretty sad seeing Saffold go down, right? You saw the first time he was down for a minute. He got back up, came back in, and then tried. So hey, salute to Saffold for that one, man. He had to figure out whether he was hurt or injured. And and when you're injured, you can't play. And so I'm glad he made that decision for himself, and then the doctors have made that decision too. What about you, Mark?
I'm gonna give the easy answer here, and I'm gonna preface it by saying Julio was robbed of that touchdown. I think we all saw it. I think it was pretty clear. I'm sure we all saw the pictures and everything else. He was robbed, but
I did.
For him to come in and do what he did on a day where AJ Brown just didn't have it for whatever reason. That's what Julio does. That's why we brought him in, was for this exact moment, because you're not going to have games every week where Brown and AJ are both getting theirs. One of them's off, the other one steps up and makes plays, and that's exactly what Julio did. Every time we needed a big play, he was there, and that's the exact reason we brought him in here. So for me, it was definitely Julio, man. He definitely had the biggest impacts early when Henry was struggling and got us at least into field goal range. And then, he was making plays in the first half. And when Henry was taking over in the second half, he had a couple timely catches that continued drives for us. So
right.
I definitely say Julio.
For sure. I like both of your guys' answers, and I'm not going to disagree. My personal opinion would probably have to be Ryan Tannehill, man. I'm going to have to give it up to Ryan Tannehill. He was definitely better than he was in week 1, right? He was out there a little more comfortable, out there making some great plays, man. Even with his legs, he was making good reads. And in the past, he wasn't like on time using Derrick Henry coming out the backfield to catch a few screens or whatever. But he was actually nailing him yesterday. He was he was nailing him, getting him on point, and finding Michael Pruitt, finding Hudson. Akina, man, he was spreading that ball around yesterday. Chester Rogers,
yeah,
man. So the fact that he's confident, he extended a few plays with his legs. And as Titans fans, I'm sure we don't want to see that a lot.
That one play you see where he tried to slide and he bit that knee. I was like, oh my god,
yeah, me too.
We can't afford him going down.
I was like Fred Sanford, man.
Yeah.
oh no. Hey man, straight up, he definitely extended some plays with his legs, man, and he stepped up to the plate, and he definitely hit some home runs for us yesterday. Hey, Buddy had 40 pass attempts out there, man, 40 throws. I think I said it yesterday on Tennessee Times Weekly Show in the comments. I think we might be seeing Ryan Tannehill like evolve in front of our very eyes, being that he has so many weapons now. You know what I'm saying? And he's confident. So that offensive line definitely came together and figured some things out. So salute to Keith Carter for that one.
And I also want to add too, shout out to Derrick Henry for for some of that blocking he did.
Oh,
Some of
yes.
those blitzes.
In the past game, woo!
Yeah, it was beautiful, man.
Things we've never seen from him
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. I was just like, oh my god, he is like coming into his own with that, blocking,
He
man.
said he had a career high 6 catches. He was been blocking, making plays. I mean, he was just doing everything yesterday. It wasn't just on the ground. I was
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
No, hey, salute to that man. He's evolving too, because in the past, woo, man,
right, he wasn't known for his blocking like that. He wasn't
trying to get in there. He wasn't trying to get dirty. Hey, but he figured out what we had to do, man. And in the past, you know what I'm saying, if you want to be content with where you're at currently as a player, I mean, you're just going to digress.
Yep.
So, you know, being able to accept that critical feedback from people, that actually, you know, opinions actually matter to him, is actually helping him out, helping his team out, and that's the makings of a great leader, man. Derrick Henry's one of one. He's definitely one of one, man. There's no replacing that man whatsoever.
Definitely.
Whatsoever. All right, so let's go ahead and shift things over real quick to Michael Pruitt. I know we were talking earlier, Ian, about who would you rather use more and be your number 2 tight end by committee in that role. You think it would be Michael Pruitt?
Most definitely. I think he's definitely, just that one game he played in yesterday, he definitely showed what he's made of. He definitely made his presence known in that game with 4 catches for 43 yards. Just, his presence, his poise, and even also him too, getting in the head of some of the players on Seattle's side. Definitely seeing that side of him that, we probably didn't see in the past. Just all those things that he's contributed to the team, man. I think it's just awesome. I think, also, of course, with his pass blocking as well, capabilities, with all that, I think he'd be a great tight end number 2 for the team.
For sure. I don't think we need to make any more moves with him. I think we need to stick with him.
Yep.
Just as far as, man, that energy brought yesterday.
Right.
Bro had the mental edge against the Seahawks' top hitters, man. All their top shouters, this man was in their head.
Yep. Yep.
So, Mark, what about you, man? Are you gonna use Michael Pruitt more in your attack, or are you gonna use Jeff Swain more?
Oh no, definitely Pruitt, man. And you touched on it the other day on the last show where you were saying outside of Tennessee, nobody knows who he is. Nobody. And again, yesterday I was not surprised by that. If you're not a fan of Tennessee, you might have been, but for me, he had a couple really big catches down the stretch. Did a couple really good things. He got in there. He was blocking for Henry. He was leading blocks.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. And with that kind of energy and play, like, you'd absolutely roll with him.
Hey, buddy,
you find a way to get him on the field.
Yep. Right.
Sure. Hey, man, buddy's slow as hell, man. But
hey, it don't matter when you're making plays, though.
Yeah. No, he's not going to turbo mode at all.
Right, no, definitely no turbo. I was like, run, bro, run. What are you doing? Man, it's all good. He made the catch, and he definitely extended the play with his legs to the best of his ability, and that's all you can ask for, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And to be available.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's go ahead and shift things over to the defensive side of the ball, though. Let's talk about that, because we're not going to keep the show too long this evening. I know we all have some things to do. So let's go ahead and talk about the defense real quick. What most impressed you about our defensive presence yesterday? I'm gonna start with you on this one, Ian.
Just the resiliency of the defense going on with the game. I mean, first half they was out there, I think we was talking about before we got on, just some of the coverage mistakes they were making, just some of the missed tackles, some of the missed schemes, the scheming, and just the communication was kind of off in that first half, and they just kept at it until they started fine-tuning it and perfecting it, and it got better as the game went on. Just just not giving up and just just staying with it, just sticking with it, man. And also, just like I said, shout out to Fulton, man, for doing what he did, man. He was getting in DK Metcalf's head and just just out there, like I said, just with that tenacity, just like I said, just not giving up, just chipping at it, chipping away like some ice, just chipping away, just sticking with the game plan. So that for sure. They resiliency.
Absolutely. Mark, what about you, my guy?
You know what, for me, man, it's definitely the secondary. And I know they got torched a little bit, a couple big plays like we talked about. But again, like Ian was saying, it's the resiliency and the way that they just continued to battle. And again, 6 points in the second half. That's a lot to do with the secondary. Wilson just didn't have anything downfield.
Yep.
And that goes to show how we adjusted and how we came together. And, for anyone who's been watching this show the last couple of weeks, man, I've been singing the praises of Christian Fulton, and I will continue to do so.
Wow.
He held DK to six catches for 53 yards on 11 targets. And, it just wasn't there. And that's what I was saying the other night is that, I'd let him ride on DK all day. And that's exactly what they did. And, I credit the coaching staff a little bit for putting that confidence in him to start putting him up against these big receivers and letting him do his thing.
For sure. Hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and rock with I know I can mention a bunch of other names, but I like how Dane Cruikshank came into the game. And,
yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
Because we just talked about him
right.
night before, right?
Much.
Because I was asking Mark, I said, hey, man, what are we doing with guys like Cruikshank and Matthias Farley? Like, what are we doing with these guys? Because I knew, with the Monty Hooker being out, there might be some opportunities for some of these guys to get in and make some big things happen. And in spite of some of the things that he made that made some bad decisions or some mistakes, it was a lot of the secondary did yesterday, and it was just miscommunication and some ill timing things that happened. So things will get cleaned up, man. But I just want to give a shout out to him because, like you said, usually we just use him mostly in a special teams game.
Mm-hmm.
And he just embraced his role yesterday, and I think he had like 34 snaps in yesterday, or something.
Right.
Like that,
yep.
Man. So
salute to him. And then too, you just shout out to our coaching staff for making those adjustments. I think that's another thing that I think made a big difference in yesterday's game compared to the game against Arizona. They made in-game adjustments. Right. Like you said, you saw McDougal was out there getting toasted. They brought in Cruikshank. Molden, he was out there pretty much being a boy amongst men. They brought in Chris Jackson. So they made those adjustments in the game to see, like, man, let's try something different. Shout out to them too for making those adjustments.
Well, that's always been a struggle, man. Is they wait too long to make those adjustments, or they don't make them at all. So
exactly.
I agree. Credit them for getting in there and doing making the changes necessary.
We'll get to that phase. That phase of the of football as well, because that's huge. You have coaches, being in the moment and making the right decisions for your team and putting your team in positions to be successful. I want to also talk about Bud Dupree. Even though the numbers may not reflect, sometimes work goes unseen, you know what I mean? But there was something I did see that I was super impressed with, and it was something that I knew needed to happen. And I mentioned it before on the show about Bud Dupree being the leader on that defense. I think it was like the first or second play into the game, and this man he's so energetic. I don't know if you've seen him yelling, screaming, getting his teammates hype, just bringing that positivity for his team and just showing like, hey, that's the type of tenacity and the energy I need you guys to come with. And I don't know. Did you guys see that at all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also saw him on the sideline after Seattle scored to make it 24-9. Man, I saw him on the sideline just keeping people's heads up and running down the sideline, talking to guys, and that was cool to see as well.
Absolutely, man. And that right there, man, is proof in the pudding. You need that veteran. You need that veteran guy to go ahead and just assume that role, and that way it's just contagious. You know what I mean? Everybody's feeding off it, man. But as Ian and I were talking before we started the show, I love our defense, and I think we're a better defense when David Long Jr. is on the field, number 51. What are your thoughts on that, Ian?
Yeah, man, David Long. Like I'm gonna say this. I see him being our inside linebacker coming next season. Our starting linebacker coming next. I think Rashaan Evans' days are pretty much behind him as a Tennessee Titan, and I could definitely see him stepping in that linebacker role and doing his thing for the Tennessee Titans on a full-time basis for sure, because he's out there, he's bringing it. Just the way he can move from side to side and and wrap guys up. He's a pretty good tackler too. He's definitely bringing it, and he definitely needs to be a starter for sure.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. Mark, what about you?
Oh yeah, I agree. There's a reason why he's on the field so much, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Evans unfortunately just isn't panning out for whatever reason. He just can't seem to put it together. And I know that they'll play together a lot of times as well, but there's a big reason why Long is getting so much playing time, and that's a big reason why. He provides a lot of energy and stuff like that, and you need that, especially on a defense that tends to struggle. You need those guys that are going to help keep everybody else going and keep it positive and that kind of thing, and he brings that. So, yeah, I definitely love to see more of him.
Right. And I definitely want to point out the obvious, too, within Christian and Fulton, just how much swag and confidence he had out there yesterday. He slipped up on DK in the beginning of the game, and I was a little nervous. I was like, oh, man, not again. You know what I'm saying? We can't have this happen. Even though in week 1 he didn't play well, but we saw Janoris Jenkins slip up on D Hop. You know what I mean? Just on an easy, simple move, and it ended up being like a bad omen for us. So I didn't want to see that happen between Christian Fulton and DK Metcalf. But I want to also talk about Kevin Byard. Man, he was lining up everywhere yesterday. Everywhere. He was everywhere on the field, man. He's playing linebacker. He's playing the slot. You've seen him out there playing free safety, strong. He was out there yesterday being active for us. Maybe did not show up on the stat sheet, but you could definitely see that was throwing a little confusion at Seattle in that offense.
Yeah, it definitely makes me a little nervous to see Byard doing that much, just because we talked about it the other day again. That's just not his strength necessarily.
Yeah,
you certainly will confuse an offense with that, but on the other side, Byard is at his best where he can just sit back and roam the field, kind of chase the football down. Now, yesterday we needed him to do more, and he stepped up and did everything that we needed him to do. Right. But I hope that's not the norm going forward, where he can sit back and just do what we're used to seeing him do. But with some of our liability on defense, he has to do more. And, I understand that side of it as well.
If we can figure out how to make that work on a consistent basis, depending week on week, varying what matchup we have, I'm cool with it. What about you, Ian?
Yeah, I agree. I think it all depends on the opponent and what you see out there on the offense. I'm more in agreement with Mark as well. I want him to focus on just one or two things out there on the defense, not trying to do everything, because he's not that kind of all-around defensive guy in my book. But don't get me wrong, he does his thing. Right. But I think once he focuses on being the free safety, I think that's when you see him at his best, compared to, like you said, playing in the slot or playing linebacker or trying to be a quarterback spy.
A part of playing free safety is having that availability to be a freelancer.
Right.
So I think he's just kind of feeling himself right now, and I like what I'm seeing at him.
Yeah, but like I said, it all depends on the opponent too.
For sure.
Seattle will seem like it was a team where he could capitalize off of that type of thing, and they weren't really picking up on it probably as well.
For sure, absolutely. I'll probably have just a few more questions for you guys. So at halftime, we go into the locker room, scores 24-9. We're down 15 points. I mean, how optimistic are you as a Titans fan at that point? Mark, I'm gonna start with you, homie.
You know what? It was weird because it was like, one moment I'm like, okay, well, we've been here before, right? We've had the big comebacks. We've done this before. My concern wasn't the 24-9. My concern was more like, it was more about the Julio touchdown, because that's what got us that third field goal to make it 9. And, when that gets taken off the board, you wonder if the team feeds off of that, and they look at that and they go, damn, man, like the refs got us and we're in trouble here, And so that was more my concern than anything else. I wasn't really worried that we were going to get back into the game. I thought we were going to get back into the game. I didn't know that we were going to actually pull it out at the end. 24-9 in Seattle is a tough thing, and I really thought the Julio touchdown called back really doomed us.
For sure. I mean, I'm with you on that. Ian, what about you?
Yeah, I was just, man, I'm not gonna lie. I was on the fire Shane Bowen train at halftime. Like, I was like, get him out of here. Let's bring in Schwartz. Let's do something different. I wasn't like this. I wasn't really tripping off the score, because, like I said, I came into the game kind of thinking, we are in Seattle. This is Russell Wilson. This is the Seahawks. We in, at the 12th with the 12th man, the whole ambiance type thing. So I wasn't really coming in, highly optimistic that we were going to pull out a win. It was just more so of how we were playing, just particularly on defense. How, like I said, the first half was a different tale from the second half. So going in, I was just kind of like, yeah, let's get rid of Shane Bowen. That was mostly my thought going in halftime. And just like I said, hopefully, we can at least make it a little bit more competitive. If we're going to lose, at least, don't let it be 24-9. Let's at least let it be 24-15.
For sure, man.
Well, Henry only had 35 yards at halftime too.
Right,
so
right.
You look at that on top of the fact that we were down 15.
Yeah,
that's a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It wasn't looking good for us going into that locker room at the end of the first half, man. I'm going to be honest here. I'm a guy. I'm never going to bet against my Titans, man, ever. So no matter what was going on yesterday, no matter what we saw as Titans fans, I was still rocking with the Titans. There was no doubt in my mind that we weren't going to come back. I knew 100% we were going to find something that was going to work, and we were starting to click on all cylinders and find that cohesive unit that would go out there and make things happen, man. And my opinion and my fact that I'm so biased, it proved me right. I'm never going to bet against my Titans, brother. Hey, can we turn that down in the background just a little bit?
You hear something?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was maybe somebody from another room watching TV. I couldn't hear very well.
Oh,
but it's good now.
Okay.
So yeah, man. That we'll go ahead and transition into one of the four phases of football, man. We'll go ahead and talk about the coaching phase. You said at halftime you were ready to fire Shane Bowen. What are your thoughts now?
He lives to see another week, of course, but I'm still not completely sold. I'm just kind of on a wait and see mode with him, just to see what he can do, particularly against not more so the Colts, but definitely against like the Jags and the Jets when we play them next. To see will we still be terrible on pass coverage? Will we still only get 1 or 2 sacks a game? Just though, and what kind of in-game adjustments he'll make against teams. Just kind of more so on the wait and see. I'm on wait and see for sure. So I'm not completely off that fire Shane Bowen train just yet.
Okay, I got you. What about you, Mark?
Oh man, I felt like every coach and they made the adjustments at halftime, all of them. So I wouldn't say that I'm sold on Downing or Bowen, to be quite honest. At this point, I agree with Ian. It's definitely a wait and see. It feels like. It felt like in the first half we saw a lot of what we saw in Arizona. It was very predictable. There wasn't a whole lot of creativity.
Yep.
Again, the play action was kind of lacking a little bit in that first half. They had a couple, but in the second half they started, they made the adjustment. They were using the play action. Henry got going. There was counter plays. There were stretch plays. I mean, the creativity started coming back a little bit offensively.
Yep.
And that was good to see, but we have to find a way to be more consistent with that kind of thing out, not just because we're down 15 points at halftime. And for Bowen, man, he's so far, you played 4 halves and 3 of them we've gotten cooked. So he's going to have to figure that out pretty quick. And, the one thing that I noticed late in the game, obviously, in a tight game, you don't want to pressure Wilson too much and give him another chance to beat you. But it did seem like, we're not blitzing as much as I think we should be, given that our secondary is struggling. You want those, like I said the other night, you want those quarterbacks to get rid of the ball quickly. So I'd like to see an adjustment with the coaching staff where maybe we're putting a little bit of pressure out there a little bit sooner than we were yesterday.
I agree.
I'm impressed with the coaching staff, mostly with Mike Vrabel. Man, that dude, that man's energy is like, I just want to hang around with Mike Vrabel, dude. I want to be a part of his coaching staff. I mean, he just seems like a great guy to be around. He's a lead by example guy. He's a player's coach. I don't know if you guys saw the locker room after the game.
Yeah,
his locker room.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Man,
Yeah.
man, you could just feel how genuine he was with his players. And then you could see that trickling down to Derrick Henry as well. He's stepping into this leadership role where, I know we didn't really see much of Derrick Henry being vocal, but now you're starting to see Derrick Henry being vocal on the sidelines, in the locker room. He's like really assuming that leadership role. And he's just coming into his NFL career, just trying to get better in every phase. So I know Mike Vrabel's energy is trickling down to every single one of those players, and then every single member on his coaching staff. So I got to salute to Mike Vrabel for that one.
And even Julio, you saw Julio
Mm-hmm.
You know, he called him out, I'm sure, behind the scenes and in the press conference last week.
Exactly.
And you saw Julio, you know, answer the call. So yeah, like I said, going back to your point, he's definitely his message is driving, is getting to their head, and they, you know, carrying it forward.
Yeah, it's definitely clicking somewhere, man, and it's gonna start there. It's definitely gonna start there, man. So yeah, I mean that's 4 phases of football, man. You got special teams, offense, football. Offense and defense. Then you have and then you have your coaching staff, man. So they all gotta be moving and cognizant. You know what I'm saying? One unit, one band, one sound. Moving forward, this week we have the Colts. We're gonna be at home, and then we've seen that every single team in the AFC except for the Titans, AFC South, except for the Titans, lost yesterday on Sunday. So, you know, this is an opportunity for us to really kind of take the lead, man, and kind of just run away with it.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor went down. He's out for 4 weeks. Carson Wentz, you know, he's going to be questionable moving forward. And if they had that backup playing quarterback on Sunday, they're in for a long day.
Yeah, Eason.
Man, I watched the entire game. They're in for a long day. You know, even with Wentz. You know,
yeah, I agree.
Even with Wentz, man, like
he's not going to be able to move.
Yeah, no,
right.
Man, the thing is, Wentz can move, but every time he moves, that's what gets him hurt. You know.
Well, yeah, but now he's got the twisted ankle. Even if he can play, I can't imagine them trying to run him a whole lot. You know, they're going to be making him get rid of that ball.
Yeah, but that's where he's the most comfortable. I feel like is when he's on the move, trying to make some things happen.
Right.
You know, so he's going to be uncomfortable standing in that pocket, man. So it might be a field day for Danico Autry to go against his former team. I hope he's out there putting in work on Sunday. But that's a whole nother show within itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to the folks, guys. I mean, you have anything else you want to say?
I know for me, I just want to see. Speaking of special teams, I want to see Chester Rogers run one back. Like he has the guns. I just want the guys to block good for him. He can run one back.
Hey, I'm in agreement with you. But now that you brought Chester Rogers' name up in the special teams game, bruh, I know y'all heard and seen him get popped right before.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, that was ugly. Yeah, that was ugly. Definitely.
He held on to the ball. He even got popped on offense too, but he still held on to the ball.
Yeah.
So he shows a lot of resilience and a lot of strength, man. A lot of get back. You know, just get right back up on your feet, go out there and ball again.
Yeah,
straight up. What about you, Mark?
You know what? I know you like the stats, right, and all that. So here's a good one. Derrick Henry now is just the 4th player in NFL history with 10 150-yard 2-touchdown games in his career. The other 3 are Jim Brown, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Barry Sanders, all Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers.
So he's in great company. So for all the analysts out there that continue to talk about Henry slowing down and when's it coming, I mean, he is 27. He's kind of getting up there in running back years, but until I see him slow down, I have no reason to ever think he's going to, at least not this year.
Man, that man.
So he just keeps doing his thing, and on top of that, we play the Jags and Texans twice, teams that he has absolutely destroyed in the last couple of years.
Yep.
So he's now on pace for 2,000 again. I know it's early, but he's leading the league in rushing again.
Like in one game, he took over the
right.
In one game,
they said that he has more yards after contact than the second closest guy to him right now.
Right. Yep.
That's just incredible to me that he continues to do those kinds of things. So, big shout out to Henry continuing to do his thing, and hopefully this is a sign of good things for him this year.
That man's Black Hercules, man.
Yeah. I mean, he just can't be stopped. It's ridiculous. That second half, that's the funny thing about what Tennessee does is even when we're losing, other teams get away from the run and we continue to run. And I think teams don't know how to deal with that because they're not used to seeing that. When you're down 15 points, teams expect you to throw the ball. We come out, we still running it with Henry, and that's something that defenses are not used to dealing with. And I think yesterday Seattle paid for it.
And you could tell Seattle defense was getting tired. They were tired.
Oh, absolutely.
By the 4th quarter, they were dog tired. You could tell.
Yep. No facts.
Well, we weren't. I mean, none of our drives were overly quick. He had the 60-yard run, but other than that, I mean, he was just bruising. There were six.
But that's the way you want to play football. You want to own that time of possession.
Right. And we had about 20 minutes yesterday. It was like 42 to 22 or something. It was
42. 42. And that guy, what's the guy that he pushed? That was a business decision. He didn't want to smoke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was a weak stiff arm as far as Henry is concerned. He went in half-heartedly. He didn't want that.
Yeah, he did.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I wanted to keep this show short, man. But but I'm glad you brought that up, man. There were so many good things we saw yesterday.
That was definitely spots.
It's just nice to be able to have that in your back pocket where you can still run the ball even when you're losing and know that you can get back into a football game. Because, like I said, in today's NFL, they're not used to seeing that. We were still down. We were still down in the fourth quarter, still running it with Henry. Right.
Yeah.
So like it's just a really good thing to have that a lot of teams don't. They don't have that luxury, and coaches. Again, back to the coaching staff. Credit them for sticking with that and not getting away from that as easy as it is to do in the NFL. They had that confidence and they continued to pound Henry, especially once he got going. And you always want to see that.
Man, stay true, man. Stick to the process and stick to the script for the most part. You know what I mean? That's been our identity is to stick with the run game. But the fact that we might be able to use both, we might be able to start pass game to open up the run game, vice versa.
Yeah.
Well, that's the nice thing is we can do both. I know traditionally we've been a running team, and that's really what we do well. But I mean, I certainly wouldn't trust that we're going to run and not unleash Tannehill. Like you said, Tannehill throws 40 yards and 300 or 40 times 300 yards and does his thing. And you don't know which way we're going to go with it. And that's the nice thing about that offense.
For sure, man. And you can spread the love, man. And we haven't even seen Josh Reynolds get active yet. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things that are still in our corner that could just be held, kept in the playbook until it was time to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Could just imagine. Tannehill easily could have had 400 passing yards if AJ would have caught 2 or 3 of those passes. He could have had 400 yards.
Bro, probably close to 5, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that would have been crazy to see. And like I said, if that would have happened, then every team in the NFL ought to be scared. If that definitely would have happened. But even now, based on there was 5 opportunities where we probably could have just gotten to the end zone, right, instead of using Randy Bullock. So the score could have been like 60-30, at the end of the game. So teams should be scary because Tennessee Titans can definitely put up a high scoring game if not taken care of. if you put a Band-Aid on that bleed, man, oh, you guys are in for a long day, man.
And this is the offense we expected to come out last week, and I know it was week 1, but this is what we expected to see.
Right.
This is definitely closer to the team I expect to see than the team we saw last week.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Well, hey guys, we can talk all day, so we're two-tone blue in the face, man. But hey, we're gonna go ahead and end it. So folks, if you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe to the Two-Tone Zone. Please like the videos, please share the videos with your family and friends. And then just go ahead and leave some comments in there. Go ahead and thank Ian for coming on the show, showing us love.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Show love to the homie Mark, for holding things down. Shout out to the homie D Weez. Can't wait to have you back in the building, So we're going to be putting out a preview for week 3, and that'll be coming out here soon. But until next time, guys, you know the drill. It's always tie gang or don't bang, and we'll see you soon.